What's up, guys? Garrett Chappell here today with Nathan Ramsey, and welcome to the very first episode of What's Your Thoughts? What's Your Thoughts is a new series that we're going to be running. It's just going to be a quick, short, around that 10-minute or length.
Just kind of picking a topic.
Just short, kind of, we're going to pick a topic, we're going to talk about it. So what we're going to do is we're going to rotate this to where one week I'm going to pick it, next week you're going to pick it. You may or may not know what we're going to talk about. Today, I have chosen we're going to be discussing packing for a hunting trip. So, what's your thoughts? This is usually where I would roll. This is usually where I would roll an intro, but being that this is the first episode, we don't have an intro. Bear with us.
Stand by.
We will have one coming up soon. So, let's dive right into it.
Packing for trips. We're gonna have to narrow this down because there's a whole different thing. You talk about packing the truck, packing your suitcase.
Well, just
what
anything.
You packing. I will say, me and you have got pretty good. We've done a lot of travel trips together. I mean, we've been
going on about 5 years of traveling together
about
now.
4 different states, I think. So I think me and you have got a pretty good system to where we both seem to make a list. Yeah. Most of the time, there's things missing off of both, and we just kind of compare the two. But
I was going to say the first thing that sticks out in my mind when I say that topic, packing for a hunting trip, two things. Pretty OCD when it comes to being organized,
CDO.
And I have a very bad memory. Not as bad as yours, but I do have a bad memory.
Accepted.
So lists are very important to me.
Oh, yeah.
I live by list. I live by notes. You look through my phone. I got 400 notes. Look at my desk calendar. It's covered.
And do you ever delete your notes in your phone?
Every now and then. It's got to be old. So going into packing for a trip, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a list. And I mean down to everything: socks, underwear, T-shirts, pajamas, toothbrush, toothpaste, like stuff I know I'm going to take.
But if I don't put it on that
list,
you're going to mess up.
I'm going to forget it.
Yep.
So that's step number one for me. I think you agree to that.
Oh, absolutely.
We make lists and we go by them. I even will subcategorize those lips. It'll be not lips, lists.
Slow down.
I'm trying to be fast because we don't have a lot of time, and I feel like this is something that I could talk a lot about. Maybe a part 2 of this is appropriate. So I'll even break it down to, my regular clothes, my hunting clothes, my camera gear, my hunting gear.
Yep.
It gets broken down into several different things. Us content creators, whatever you want to call us, we take a lot of stuff. And so those lists are super important. So I would say start there. I'm not going to harp on that anymore.
I will say that from experience, we tend to overpack sometimes, and a lot of that's based off of if you're doing the same trip. Like we've done this pretty much the same trip for 5-6 years now. I know that I'm not going to wear 7 different of my regular shirts when we're on a hunting trip.
Yeah,
because I'm usually in hunting clothes most of the time.
Right.
So I learned my lesson this past trip I just took. I put like 5 or 6 different regular, going to the store shirts in there. And I'm like, I'm not going to wear that.
Yeah.
So I ended up taking some of that stuff out. So that definitely helped me a lot to think about what you're actually going to be doing while you're there. How often are you really going to be like, let's go to Food Line? No, you're going to.
Right. And as you're taking a trip, obviously you're going to be hunting somewhere where you're not used to hunting. Pay attention to stuff like the weather. Look at the forecast. Look what's expected to be, but also don't rely on that too much. For us, most of our trips together are waterfowl hunting trips. I will pack gear for if it's warm that day. I will pack gear for if it's going to be cool that day. I will pack gear if it's going to be freezing. I'll pack gear if it's going to be wet.
Yeah. Like the DWJ goes, no matter what.
You need to be prepared for because you can look at the forecast and you should, but you also want to be prepared for no matter what happens. You don't want to be 1,500 miles from home and don't have what you need.
Absolutely.
So overpacking isn't necessarily a bad thing. The hunting gear that I'm taking, I don't plan on using all that. I just want to make sure, who knows? All of a sudden something might come out of nowhere.
What's that saying? I'd rather have it, not need it, than need it and not have it.
Absolutely. That also goes into shotguns. We always take an extra shotgun.
Yep.
Now, if it's 3 or 4 guys going, we might not all bring 2 apiece, but we're at least going to, all of us have our guns, and we'll probably have 1 or 2
one
extras.
Spare, usually. We never had to use it, thank God, I don't think, but.
Right. But it's just one of them.
Take it.
you need it.
It's a small price to pay for that little bit of space you're going to take up.
Absolutely.
I will say too that this is not just based on packing. It's talking about planning for those trips. Is your vehicle, thinking about, are you going to be in that vehicle for a long period of time?
Right.
Because one thing that I would tell you, that the recent trip I just took, I threw a cooler in the bed full of drinks and snacks.
Mm-hmm.
But Richard Ramsey remembered to bring that little bitty cooler that goes up front.
Right.
That was a key element in that travel.
Right.
Think about how long you're going to be in that car or truck, whatever it is. How long you're going to be there? Are you going to be on the road a lot? You're going to be stopping a lot. Don't sit there and you don't need to pack 1,000 snacks because you're going to stop for gas.
Right.
And you're still going to be like, I'm going to go in there and get something fresh.
And then, use that word overpacking lightly, because consider what you're riding in, how many people are riding in that vehicle. Nobody likes the guy where it's 4 of us and we show up and everybody's got a big duffel bag, and then you got Sam over here who's got 6 bags.
Me? That's me. That's me with camera gear.
So
guilty as charged.
Be considerate of that. Obviously, you want to make sure you got what you need, but don't go crazy with it.
And don't forget your list. I've done that a few times. I've made a list. And
you didn't check it twice.
I did check it twice, I've checked it at the house, and I think, I've got it all. And then I get to your house, and I'm like, it was on the list.
Very rarely have we went on a trip where something didn't get forgotten.
Yeah. And it happens. And you learn a little bit sometimes. Sometimes you don't. But
I think one thing that's easily overlooked that I have learned is, so my main bag that I usually use, it's an old Duck's Back watertight bag, and it's just one huge main compartment. I will try to organize that as best I can. I'll kind of put hunting gear on one side, regular clothes on the other side, just so it's a little easier to thumb through. And then usually I will carry a whole separate bag that'll have like my underwear and my socks and that kind of stuff in, my toiletries, that kind of stuff. But one thing that gets overlooked is dirty clothes. So now
bags.
I keep a trash bag in there, because how many trips have I went on to where it's like, as you take off, as
you're still in the ice bucket bag,
you're just throwing your dirty clothes in the corner of the room. But then when it's time to pack up, it's like, well, I still got a bunch of clothes in here that are clean.
Yep.
I don't want to throw all these in there. Throw a trash bag in there. That's a good tip.
What's we'll wrap it up here in just a second. But what's a quirky thing that you take now on trips that you probably didn't originally plan to take? Like, what's some random thing?
I don't know how random it is, but I always travel with my pillow now.
Your pillow. So I've gotten, and this, people might laugh at this, I've got to where I pack towels now.
Really?
I pack my own towels.
See, I've never done that.
And I'll tell you a reason behind that, and I'll be quick, is that I have really bad heat rash and stuff. And a lot of times these hotel towels are, they ain't using fabric.
They feel like cardboard.
Yeah, it's 36 grit. So I take my own towels now, and it does add to that trash bag at the end, but it has been a huge, huge game changer. You should
try it. I can see that. That makes sense.
It's worth it. Having that own home towel is the ticket.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care about towels, but
I have a bad heat rash
but I understand you got a reason for it.
It makes my trip way better. So it's small little things. Figure out what helps you, and do not travel without toilet paper somewhere in that truck.
Yeah. You should always have some TP, some dude wipes, something.
Because you don't want to come back with one less pair of socks.
Now jump into the actual truck, and I say truck just because I feel like I'm just relating off of what we're used to. Every time we've traveled in a truck, so we're usually packing the bed of the truck. We try to keep the cab as empty as possible. As you're packing the bed of the truck, think about
what's got to come out.
Stuff needs to be accessible, stuff that don't. Obviously, the stuff that you're not going to need right away, put it up in the front. Put the stuff that you need to be able to get to. And, I feel like that's kind of common sense thing, but I feel like
it gets
packing the truck bed neatly and organized, and actually having a purpose to the order that you're packing it makes sense.
For sure. I've made the mistake of leaving some items in a bag that's tucked in the back of our truck, and you got a ladybug crawling up your headphone.
Really? Where?
Right here on the cord.
A ladybug?
It's on your shirt now. There's a problem you never had during a podcast.
That ain't a ladybug. I don't know what that is.
That's a ladybug.
She didn't have spots. She was solid red.
Anyways, yes, I think that I have made some mistakes and packed like a jacket that I knew I was going to need when it was cold there. and it's in the back of the truck. And I
a lot of times
when
when we're leaving here, it's 60 degrees outside, and when we get to where we're going, it's 20 degrees.
Yeah.
It's always me and you, our rule, the last thing in that truck, soon as you open that camper shell, should be our clothes. Because that's probably the first thing you need when you get there. Clothes and or boots, because it's like we travel up there in Crocs, we go straight to scouting and we're in a muddy field. I need my boots. I need a jacket. Like
you have converted me, sir. You have to travel in Crocs. That is the ticket.
Have to.
Oh my God, it's a ticket.
Have to.
Best hotel shoes I ever had.
All right, guys. Well, I think that about wraps it up for today's very first episode of What's Your Thoughts. We'll catch you on the next one.
See ya.